Here are 5 things that are keeping you away from becoming the best version of yourself. And I wanted to make this video because I recognize and I see a lot of people just living mediocre lives, saying they're gonna do things, not doing them, and being upset from where they are when in reality, all they have is themselves to blame. But this is a totally fine point to be in your life. Everybody must experience it. Everyone must understand it. And if you're going through it now, I wanna help you speed it up by giving you these 5 lessons that I've learned about how to not do this, how to actually progress, how to actually move on, how to actually become your best self. Number 1, excuses. You gotta stop making excuses. And that goes for everything. That goes for hanging out with certain people. That goes for if you wanna follow a diet or if you want to follow any sort of plan or anything like that, you keep making excuses as to why you don't do the thing. You string along maybe 3 days in a row, and then on the 4th day, which turns into 5 and 6 days, turns out that you can't keep any sort of consistency. And that's because you always find some sort of excuse. And that leads me to number 2. And what's the reason people try to find excuses for the things that they do? And that's that they're not willing to live an extreme life. If you want great, exceptional things in this life, you have to do great, exceptional things. I know that sounds stupid, but exceptional by exception means you're doing it when no one else is, okay? So what makes great people great is that they do things completely different than other people, and they go to the extremes. They're obsessed, they're passionate about what they do. And that's something that you need to become. You need to become obsessed, passionate, and extreme with everything that you do. Now, that's not to say that work-life balance doesn't work in somehow or in some way, but there has to be seasons for it, and preferably longer seasons work better. So if you're extreme for an entire year, maybe you can take a little bit of time off the next year. But if you're bouncing from, 5 days of extreme work and then on the weekends you completely take off, you'll never build any consistency and you'll never build anything, because you still are in the mindset of your old life, of you needing to relax, needing to be chilling, needing to have rest days from your work. Become passionate about the things that you love, and you won't need rest days from what you're doing. This one's a huge one, and I think it's probably the hardest one, and everybody I know suffers from this one, and that's the inability to say no to people, to things, to events, to anything. FOMO, whatever it might be. Everybody has this issue, and I understand it, but until you can get comfortable saying no to basically every single thing and being extreme with that, with being extreme with your time and where your time is going, what it's directed to, you will never reach the next step. You'll never become the better version of yourself. You'll always stay, because you're always, like I said, keeping one foot in your old life when you're trying to get into your new life. And that's not how it works. You have to burn that bridge. You have to continue. And in order to do that, you have to say no. And that leads me to the 4th one, and that's saying no to the wrong people or to the right people. So what does that mean, right or wrong people? No means no to hanging out with people that aren't doing the things that you want to do, that aren't being productive, that aren't, working on their business, aren't looking after themselves, taking care of their health, whatever it might be. You have to learn to say no to these people. And that's the big lesson in this entire thing, is you're never going to transition into your next big thing in your life until you can take both of your feet and get the hell out of your old life. You need to become the next version of yourself. You need to become the person who's okay with letting go of the past. You have to say no to all the things that made you who you were before, so that you can become who you're truly meant to be. And the last thing is it's an easy one, it's a simple one, but it's not having a clear goal and having a clear plan as to what you want to do. And I'm guilty of this, everybody I know is guilty of this, but something that I've noticed with people who are more successful than me is that they know what they want to do, and they just do that thing. They just do that thing relentlessly. And that's the energy you need to have towards it. But they're also specific with their goals. I don't want to get into SMART goals or whatever, but they're also specific. They have a clear vision in their head of what they see, what their best version of themselves. Maybe they're shredded, maybe they're agile, maybe they're a good musician, or they're making lots of money. They have this vision in their head, and when they clearly see that, they can fulfill that picture that they've created. And that's something that seems so simple, but not enough people are doing it. So have a clear, vivid picture in your head of what your next ideal self is, and then the steps will fall into place. And then just take the next step, then the next step, and you will get to where you want to be. So that's a lot, but unless you do these things, unless you cut out all the opposites of what I said, then you'll never become the best version of yourself. And honestly, that's just a shitty ass way to live. You're here to grow, you're here to learn, become the best version of yourself. Always remember to rep the set, and good luck out there.